Okay.
This morning, thinking about Psalm 101.
Okay.
In it, right at the beginning, David, who wrote it, says, I have committed to living a blameless life. To which I immediately went, what? Like, who can commit to that?
Yeah.
But looking up those words, giving himself over to walking in that direction, to walking in the direction of a blameless life. And I love that. I love that commitment. And as I was thinking about it, thinking about how where I get derailed is usually when I am reacting to something. Like, I will be walking my blameless life, and then somebody will do something in relationship that throws me. Like, they won't be loving, or they'll do something that just makes me mad, and then I react, and then it all goes south very quickly because I start to feel really strong negative emotions that I can't process. Like, they're just these onslaught of strong negative emotions, and they all get mixed up together inside of me. I can't sort one from the other, and before I know it, I feel brown inside. You know what I mean? Like, when you take all the colors on your finger painting and mix them all together, you end up with brown.
A very ugly brown, generally
I
speaking.
know, it's so hideous. And that is how I feel on the inside. All of these strong negative emotions are mixing inside of me, each one trying to get its own voice heard. I can't hear any of them. All I feel, because I'm a feeler, is brown.
Yeah.
And so just processing that with God, I asked him, what do we do when we just feel that way? Lots of strong negative emotions like rejection or judged, or we might feel disappointed. Like, we don't give disappointment near enough credit.
Yeah.
It's like a really strong negative
Yeah.
emotion. And so on. I feel all those things. So asking God what to do when all of those are competing. And he said, well, think about when you're listening to an audiobook and you miss the plot somehow, or you like spaced off for a minute and you don't know what's going on. What do? I was like, well, I press pause. I either go back and replay over and over and over until I understand what's going on, or I ask the person sitting next to me, wait, what just happened? And then they can help me to sort what just happened in the plot.
Yeah.
I felt like God told me to do that. When I feel brown, swirl, lots of negative, strong emotions, stop. And in conversation, I can even stop with the person and go, wow, I feel things. My daughter taught me that one. I feel things, a lot of things, and I need to press pause here and go sort this so that I can have a good conversation going forward.
Yeah.
So that is something I would like to start practicing as I start committing to my blameless lifestyle.
Blameless lifestyle. So when you're talking about that, sorting out emotions, basically you're extracting the various colors so that you can see them individually.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes,
they get
that's
back
it.
to like the original
I can
colors.
see the strong yellow disappointment. I can see the rejection. I can see all of that. It's really helpful. So then when I go back into conversation with a person, I can verbalize those things, or perhaps I don't need to verbalize any of those things. Perhaps it's all on just my side and they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But I can sort that then and then jump back into that relationship and not just be emoting all over the person sitting across from me, which is what I tend to do.
Yeah. Well,
Not
and
good.
it's really wise because we humans tend to be reactionary and we don't always take the time to take a breath. I had a situation recently where somebody said something to me and they weren't wrong in what they said, but it made me feel defensive. And so I didn't react in the moment. I kind of laughed it off, but I walked away from it saying, why am I feeling defensive?
That's good.
Like, I know I need to go back and clear the air because we hadn't really discussed it. It wasn't the time. I had this brown thing get thrown up and I had to unpack it.
Yeah.
And I actually was able to unpack it with my daughter. And
That's beautiful.
thank God for these daughters that are so smart.
I know, they are. They totally are. Here's the other thing in that psalm is the next thing David says is he basically practices this at home.
Oh.
Like, he starts to live this commitment to a blameless life at home with himself in his own thoughts and then with his people right around him in his own home. And it's like, I think we tend to think I can go be, if I have to deal with all that crud in the real world, when I get home, I can just let loose. And David did it the opposite.
Yeah.
He made sure his behavior was right at home.
Yeah.
So that when he went out, it was just an outflow of what he already practiced.
That's huge.
That is
Yeah,
huge.
That's huge.
Sorry,
That's-
Dave.
Yeah. That's where we are not hypocrites, and when our
Yeah.
children can see us being real. I've had young parents ask, how do you raise up kids so they, don't rebel or whatever. It's like, well, if they see that you're on an honest journey and you're walking in
Yeah.
truth, it makes it more appealing to them. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be
No,
honest.
that's what I like. This whole idea is a commitment to walk toward.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we're blameless. We're not.
No.
Like we're walking. We're trying to walk in that direction.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I have grace for myself when I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Thanks. Have a great day.